Hi book friends, I'm Erin and this is Erin Go Read. It's Sunday, it's game day. My game comes on in a couple hours, Go Niners. And I did some work this morning and otherwise I've just been whiling the day away, whiling the morning away, just screwing around on screens, watching some YouTube, watching Booktube. Nonfiction November video is out by a book Olive. I've been watching some Booktube prize content, just watched Heather's video about that, commenting on her video. It's been a booktube type morning, but it hasn't been a reading morning. I literally read about 5 pages before my 7 o'clock work session. So I am going to get back to reading. But one thing that I kind of forgot about, that I was reminded of when I watched Audrey's video at Chapter and Converse, is she's doing this Bookravert Bingo thing where it's like for the last quarter of the year, she made a bingo board for just like fun prompts to do to finish out the year. And my printer isn't working, so rather than printing it out, I just made like a really sloppy version of my own bingo board. And I just finished the winners. I would grab it, but it's under a stack over there. I finished the winners yesterday, and that is satisfying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prompts. So group effort for the winners. Group effort is like, it's a group effort because they're like an ensemble cast in the Beartown movies. Found in translation, it is translated from Swedish. World Series, it is a book in a series, it's a book 3 in a series. Debut or something new, and it is a new book, which also satisfies something new in 2022 because it was a 22 release. And then also Best of Friends. There are a couple of particular like best friend couplings in the winners, so I counted for that. Then I am reading Misery, and I'm right about halfway through Misery right now, and that is satisfying several prompts as well. So Dark and Messed Up, Looking Back, meaning a backlist book, Page to Screen adaptation. So when I finish this, I want to watch the movie, which I haven't seen in probably 20 or more years. I feel like there's one more. Oh, Isolated Vibes. Definitely Isolated Vibes. So anyhow, that's how that's going. So I also I have a meeting with my editor next Thursday, I think it is. And I need to get back to actually editing the next round of edits for the book. So I have the ending in particular needs to be kind of shored up. And then there are a few little spots that I need to address within it. And I just haven't given myself the time to like get in the headspace to do that. So between reading, writing, editing, and football, that's basically the plans for today. So it is just going on 11 o'clock. And so I think I want to have a good Misery reading sesh. Also reading The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. And this is the one I'm kind of like, I'm planning to be reading this throughout the month. It's a chunker. It's like 400, almost 500 pages. So I'm happy with just kind of getting a good chunk of this read every day. But Misery, I feel like, is something that I would like to finish within the next kind of several days, because I tend to, it's just easier to read longer chunks at a time. And then I'm just clamoring to get to the next book. I have that, like, I don't know if Shorty September put me in this mood, or if it's like feeling it's towards the end of the year, or just because I have so many books that I want to read for October, November, that I just feel like I just want to like plug away at books and get on to the next thing. So that's what I've got going on right now. So I thank you for your accountability, just because I knew if I just talked to you guys, you'd help me get into the swing of things. So I'm going to set a timer for, I'm going to go 45 minutes. I'm going to do 45-minute timer, sit down, shut up, and read. So my team won, Go Niners. Let's turn that down. I have YouTube playing in 2 places. I have Chill Hop playing in the background, which I should probably turn that down in case I get copyrighted for it. And then Krista at Books and Jams is doing a sprint for her Ketchup-A-Thon. So it's the Book of the Month Ketchup-A-Thon. and it's 2 weeks, like the middle 2 weeks of October, to catch up on Book of the Month books or whatever backlist books that you have that you want to get to. But in particular, I have this beast by Amor, Toles, The Lincoln Highway. And how many pages is it? Okay, a little under like 575 or so. I just watched Heather at Asagi Expat Book Nerd talking about this on her Booktube Prize video, and she got me like more psyched to read this than anybody who had talked about it before. So I've already been thinking about it today, and then I just saw that she was doing sprints. So as much as I'm enjoying reading Misery, now I feel like, oh, the sprints are on, I should just start this. Just stop trying to be quite so like TBR driven, like it's October, I have to read certain books. I'm trying to spread my kind of like October, November reading as like one big chunk in my head, I guess. So it doesn't have to be spooky, and I can read multiple books at once, and maybe I'll end up getting into the audiobook of this after my Julia Child book. I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and start The Lincoln Highway by Amor, Toles. Also, this is set in Nebraska, or at least it starts in Nebraska, and that's where I was born. Raised and live in California my whole life, but I was actually born in a blizzard in Nebraska. Oh yeah, so the Ketchup-A-Thon, there's like, you like build a burger. So, the burger choices are veggie is the newest, turkey is hyped, and beef is the oldest. So I'm gonna say turkey. I'm gonna go with the turkey burger because it's hyped. The bun is gonna be a sesame seed bun because it's an author that I've read before. I read A Gentleman in Moscow earlier this year and loved it. The condiment I'm gonna go is white on the cover. There is white on the cover of this. Very little, it's more gray scale, but there's white on the cover of that, especially on that's definitely white on the spine. And then the toppings, I'm going with onion, cheese, and bacon. So onion, it's an intimidating book just because of its size. Cheese, it's over 500 pages, and bacon because it's an anticipated book. So there we go. So I'm having a turkey burger on sesame with mayo. I suppose it could be actually mayo and mustard because there's yellow on that as well, with onion, cheese, and bacon. Sounds delicious. I'm gonna stop talking and start reading. Ooh, there's a map. It's a map of the Lincoln Highway, the first road to stretch across America. The Lincoln Transcontinental Highway. I didn't know that was a thing. Cool. Oh, apparently it goes right through Sacramento. Maybe I should have known that. My neighbor has a home phone. It was just ringing. The sliding glass door is open. And it's so loud that I can hear it ringing and I can hear the call from voice. It would scare the crap out of me every time it rang if it was that loud. I was going to record myself cooking my pancakes, my protein pancakes, and talking to you about Misery, but I forgot. I was watching Booktube, and instead I'm just going to enjoy my pancakes, and I'll update you on the end of Misery after I eat. It's Tuesday morning, and I finished Misery by Stephen King. Such a good story. Such a really good storytelling, I would say. I just really enjoyed the whole thing. A couple like points that I would say that would have made the book better for me, or just what didn't quite work for me, is from the very beginning, Paul is already in the predicament that he ends up in because she tells him, like, he wakes up and she tells him what happened, so we don't get to experience it kind of like firsthand. So in a way I can see maybe like why he did it, because you're kind of along for the ride, this horrible ride with Paul, waking up and being in terrible pain and kind of slowly coming to realize that you're essentially being imprisoned and tortured, and that you got in this terrible accident. But yeah, I think it would have been interesting to be able to see that happen from the beginning rather than being told that it happened. So there's that. And then also, because he's writing the book, he's writing Misery's Return, we get chunks of that manuscript as he's writing it. And there were parts that was like somewhat interesting, but for the most part, I just kind of skimmed through those passages. I know that there's some I looked up because there's a couple like African um like gods that are mentioned, and it kind of comes back later in the book. And so I think there's like scholarly articles about like black femininity or something like that, and you could go like really deep in the weeds into the meaning behind the African text that's in here, but it just didn't do anything for me. If anything, it just kind of took me out, and it was like those slow points that I just had to kind of drag myself to get to the actual Paul story, the story of Paul, not the story that Paul was writing. And then what was neat about it is that like it's such a good story. Like the storytelling is so good that even though for large portions of the book basically nothing is happening, but you're still really hooked into it and want to keep going, want to find out. There's a really good sense of tension where Paul is waiting. He's waiting for her to return, or he's waiting for his meds that he's now hooked to, or whatever it is. And it just really keeps you drawn in and engaged, even though for large chunks of the book, nothing is happening. So yeah, I just really love this. I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish this vlog here. This is probably the scariest Stephen King I've read so far. I've not read any of his horror. I'm not really a horror reader, but I do have Christine on my TBR. I was thinking, it depends on how I feel. I may or may not read that one closer to Thanksgiving. Closer to Halloween, it's a possibility, but that's the only King that I own that's in the horror realm. But I'd love to know, excuse me, I'd love to know if you are a King fan, what are your King recommendations? Do you have is there like a horror starter pack or a Stephen King horror book that you would recommend? Is Christine a good place to start? I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to get on with, I've still got Wilkie Collins, The Woman in White going on, and I finished the Julia Child A Life book on audiobook. It was all right as my book club book. It was interesting. It wasn't anything like groundbreaking. If anything, it just makes me want to read My Life in France by Julia Child. It made me more interested in Julia Child and like her cookbooks, reading stuff from her, but reading about her wasn't all that interesting. I'd also love to go back and watch some YouTube, go watch some actual Julia Child shows. I watched those as a kid on PBS growing up. I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. I still have Wilkie Collins, A Woman in White going, but I'm not sure what's next. I guess you'll have to tune in for the next vlog. Thank you for watching. See you around the tubes.